New York City Greek is here. Cool. Moongod. There's Moongod. Alright. Got some people who are on time. And I'm going to mute myself when someone else is talking so that there is not an echo in this video. That is what I learned yesterday. Do I have comments on? Yeah, I do. What's up, Mystic Dragon? How you doing, man? Why do I feel like I don't have an option to look at comments? What's up, Yanni? I am, thank you. Thank you very much. Full screen pop out? No. Nope. What did I do? What did I do? Shit. Alright, I'm back. Okay. Let me give you the ability to speak. Alright. Alright, what is going on here? Oh, I guess because the event hasn't officially started yet? Alright, hold on. Invite to speak. What's up, Moongod?
Looks like you're just breaking stuff over there, man.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna turn my camera on.
It's been a while since we've done Discord-wise.
Yeah. I'm recording it, and whenever you start talking, I'm gonna mute my mic, and that way there won't be an echo. Cause I'm literally just recording the screen, cause that's all I know how to do. And when I do that, like the sound is coming from my computer, and my mic is picking it up, and it creates an echo. So whenever other people talk, I have to mute myself.
Oh, okay. You should do push to talk. He vanished. He's gone.
I should do what now?
You should use push to talk. So that way you have to like push a button to talk, and then release the button. It just mutes your mic automatically for you.
Ah. Let me see. Is that is that in settings?
Yep, should be under.
Oh boy. Push to talk. Voice and video.
Yeah, it should be under voice and video in settings, and then from the voice and video, you scroll down a little bit to be able to find it. It's about halfway down the list on the left.
Push to talk. There we go. When this browser tab is.
What was that?
It's saying download something. No. Okay. No. Never mind. Can you hear me? Oh shit.
Yeah. Once you turn push to talk on, you actually have to set a button for your push to talk. So you can set it to like space bar or whatever it is. Like I have mine set to my F key.
Is it any button? Can you hear me? Hold on a second.
So in order. So in order to do, we'll figure that out later. Let's just go ahead and swap you back to voice activation.
Okay, yeah.
So you have to press it down when you're talking. By the way, in case you're curious.
Could you hear me for a second there when I was pushing the space bar?
Could not hear you at all. It was great.
Okay. Definitely, this is gonna be tricky. I'll just keep hitting mute whenever I... Oh, boy.
So yeah, we could probably just go over a couple things. I don't think this is going to be very, very long. I know the AMA that you did last night was actually pretty long. Loved it. Still watching through, but yeah, I figured we could just do a quick update here. Answer a couple of questions in case anybody's got them, and just kind of go from there.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know why I can't see my comments right now. It's weird. I could see
It's okay,
them
I can see them.
Okay, cool. I have no idea why.
Yeah, we need to buy you a headset as well.
Yeah. Is
So
that
that way it doesn't do the feedback issue that you were having.
okay? So if I just have earphones, there won't be the echo, because I'll just be hearing it here. The mic won't hear it. Is that
All
what
right,
you're
we'll
saying?
just give it a few minutes before really kind of pop off into it.
I had myself on mute when I said that.
I know.
I was saying if I have the headphones, there won't be the echo, right?
Correct. Yeah, because it should be coming through your headphones at that point in time. So you could just grab like a $10 headset from like Wall, whatever it is, or Target or something, and that should work fine.
Sweet, I can do that.
Mystic Dragon, I see your question. I will absolutely answer that first. I have no problem with that. We'll go over the questions as quickly as we can. All right, so we'll give it. What do you think? To about 4:35 here, and then we'll start the recording there, jump into it, and go from there. People can kind of join, ask questions, whatever needs done. Because you're recording it, right?
Correct. That's why I keep having to mute myself so that there isn't an echo.
Perfect.
So. Yeah, I mean, it won't be perfect, but it's going to be a lot better than last night. Like, last night I didn't mute myself at all, so it's like anytime anyone else was talking, there was an echo. It wasn't too bad, but still, it's not, it could be better. Voice activation. How do I do voice activation? Voice activity.
Sorry, I was just throwing an invite out to people in the Prisma chat. We're asking for it.
Yanni, I don't know where the voice activation option is. What's up, Greek? Greek is here. Wise Choice. Timmy. Blacksmith Forge. Vlad, Mr. Yan. Just relax. What's up? New member there. Dr. Crypto Oz. Naroff. Funny Toro. What's up, guys? Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a quick one. It's not going to be like last night where we, just delve into every other issue. We're just going to do like a 20-30 minute AMA, and Moongod is going to be the main one talking, just answering questions, because he knows a lot more than I do. So if you guys just want to ask some questions, whatever you are curious about. Oh, Yanni's teaching me. Hold on a second here. Push to talk. I don't have that button, push to talk. Voice.
All right, we'll figure it out later. Not a big deal. So yeah, I don't know if you want a record button here now, Oliver. But whenever you do, if you want to just throw a thumbs up, we can
I've
jump
been
into
recording
it.
this whole time, so.
Oh, okay, perfect.
This is
So we'll
real
jump
life,
right
man.
into it. Great. So yeah, just to answer Mystic Dragon's question here, he asked question: when we start, what is the worst outcome scenario with the Prisma NFTs? So the worst one that I can think of is something like FTX situation where, we don't make a bad trade, we do nothing wrong, everything is going exactly the way that we'd like on our side, and the CEX that we're on, Bybit, does something shady or something along with that, goes under whatever it is, freezes assets. So effectively happens that's outside of our control. That would be the worst foreseeable scenario in terms of like, hey, perfect scenario is we hit $1 million, $100 million in like 1 year or something insane like that. But like worst foreseeable outcome is that in terms of like turns, as in how do I think the NFTs are going to perform? So going on to like a part two that you didn't necessarily ask. For me, I kind of look at it like, hey, how is the market going to react in terms of both micro and macroeconomics, and what kind of governmental changes are made rolling around crypto, news in the market. So like a great example of such is the United States is working on passing some legislation and some basic guidelines the SEC can then implement through Congress and everything like that, House of Representatives. But currently, there's nothing in place right there. So the SEC is just swinging for the fence and trying to legislate by law or by lawsuit, best way to kind of word that. And that's really kind of some of the stuff that we look at. The other things would be on the news side of stuff. So like when the SEC sued Binance, or FTX getting ready to liquidate, I think it's like 6 billion or something like that in assets. Like, I think it's starting off at like 2.3, 2.4 billion, but they've got like 7 billion in assets that eventually end up being like liquidated or something. So that would be like another thing that we kind of like can keep an eye out and try and prep the bot for to the best of our ability. So those would be like negative scenarios that we kind of have in there, is that like market downturns, downtrends, and we kind of try and prep for that, to hopefully take advantage of either low volatility or removal liquidity and volatility in terms of like a net positive of money coming into the crypto space. So one thing that I kind of tried to explain with that the other day is that if crypto goes from having global liquidity that is being like constantly traded on a day-to-day basis of 500 billion to 1 billion, we've effectively lost like 80% of assets on the market. That doesn't mean that people 80% lost. That just means that we're down trading volume of 80%, which is not great. It's very much so a situation where we want to have that trading volume high. We want super thick liquidity through these CEXs, lots of trades going through them. We want to see their success so we can see our success with it as well. And so that's kind of the different ways that the Prisma team has kind of looked at these NFTs and looked at the way to kind of build them out and structure them. So that way, first and foremost, we can try to mitigate and prevent as much, I guess, what we could call damage or negative outcomes regarding downtrends in the market. And that's really kind of the first thing we do, and then we build up from there. And we kind of can see, okay, well, if we're prepped and we're able to handle a 20-30% swing a week or 2 weeks or something like that, how much closer can we get that to, hey, bot can handle a 20-30% swing in a day, or like 12 hours or 6 hours, and like we try and bring that down as close to zero as we possibly can. And in the process of doing so, that makes our bot much more resilient to negative trends in the market. But that's also part of the reason why we would trade something like Dogecoin or like XRP. So like an example of that is like when the SEC lost their lawsuit against XRP, they saw like, I think it was like a 7% spike or something like that, or like a 50% spike in like minutes. Like, I mean, that would liquidate almost any bot that's out there that's in a short position at that point in time. I mean, that's one of those reasons why we're not in a token like that. I mean, XRP is a bad token in any way, shape, or form. It's just volatility out of standard expectation. In order for Ethereum to move like that, somebody would have to be trading like 100 billion in Ethereum instantly, and that's just not going to happen with like Bitcoin. So that's why we're using those two. But when we're testing the bot for like liquidity, we happen to use a lot of times riskier assets, so we can kind of see how it reacts to that, ensure that we have implementations for that, and then we can just bring those over to Ethereum and Bitcoin, where we don't have to worry about that type of volatility, but it allows us to protect and hedge against that. And that's kind of really the idea that we do, to kind of give you some of the ways that we look at those negative instances and how we kind of like play around them. And hopefully that helps question-wise to answer kind of two things, even though you didn't really ask the second part. I just figured kind of diving a little deeper into the explanations that I gave the other day might be a little helpful. So Mr. Yan asked, I don't know if that's Yan or Yan. I'm going to go with Yan. The estimated returns seem good to be true. Is there history of other pro traders accomplishing this level of 3 to 4 per year? Or you are expecting to be the first to achieve this year over year through custom bot? So what I would say is most of the issues that are faced with a lot of trading bots, at least right now, is they're very one-dimensional. We've kind of tried to build in a lot of flexibility and safeguards within our bot in general. The issue really comes into play is when we are trading larger than what most people would expect in terms of volume, and that's really the hardest part of this. Is that you can micro trade $15,000, or you can trade $15,000 in the same way that we are, and nobody bat an eye to it in any way, shape, or form. The problem that we run into is like when we start getting to, we're trying to trade in a very unsafe way at 10 million, 20 million, 50 million, $100 million, and that's really when the trouble comes into it. The big thing that we look to do is compound, though, and that's more or less where a lot of this kind of comes into play. Is that there is room to make money within these as long as you have, the processes and the structures in place, the build out, the testing, everything like that within the bot. It's totally doable. The difference is we have to ensure that we're being safe about that as well too. So what I mean by that is we can have, some of these absolutely fantastic months, but at the same time, we are also potentially going to have, some much more conservative months. So it's not every month is not going to be a home run. The numbers that are kind of shown, we generally find them to be relatively conservative, is what we like to kind of consider here. There are other bots that have performed above and beyond what we have. So like an example of such, Warfi is out there. I don't know if anybody has heard about them. I believe they were on the 100X podcast a little while ago. I know, I think it's Drew Wolford did an AMA with them recently as well too. And they're, doing a little bit more than we are in there, but they have a different structure and setup than we do. So it's just a different process, between like what we're doing here on our side and what they're kind of doing. And we're looking at it a little bit of a different way. And I think they're averaging around like 13 to 15%. So it's very much so a case where it is doable. We're a little, I would say, a little more conservative than they are. But we do have a couple of things in place that have additional safety protocols that I don't believe that they have. Now, I'm not trying to knock them in any way, shape, or form and say, oh, they're terrible, they're bad. I mean, I know they've put so much into their safety and security, but it's just we have that stuff built into ours on this side, whereas they have to sit there and kind of manage it. One of the things I believe they said in a recent AMA was they have at all times 2 people watching their bot. We've designed ours in a way where we don't have to do that. And that's really because we, paired it much more with safety and security. And if memory serves, their bot has been trading for about 19 months at this point in time. Without again, they might be able to correct me if I'm wrong here if you go ask them about it. I believe it's 19 months without a losing month either.
Yeah.
So it's very much so a case where, we're kind of hoping to, generally follow in those same footsteps, provide those rewards. But again, what we're doing is we're looking at longer term compounding and ending up having a much higher return at a shorter period of time. They're doing, if memory serves, monthly payouts. And I believe you also are purchasing their bot themselves versus ours is aggregated for the entire community. And again, I could be wrong there. Please don't hold me to it. But yeah, there are other protocols and processes that are out there that we've kind of, taken a look at, seen some of the things that they've done. We set things up different and, customize it with our bot much, much different than they have. And again, our bot, if we were to be able to produce in the way that, would effectively be like at 100% perfect trades, everything across the board, at about 2.5 years, we would hit stage 3. In fact, we'd hit about $87 million. which is insane. Like, it's not going to happen. That would be like the absolute perfect world. Every perfect trade hits. Everything goes flawlessly for us. We don't miss a trade. We don't miss a negative, downturn in the market or a positive upturn in the market. Everything would have to be perfect, and the likelihood of that happening is like beyond astronomical. But it would be a situation where, we'd hit, like, I believe it's like $86.823 million or something like that in like just about 2.5 to 3 years, which is just it's never going to happen. But that's one of those things where it's like when we tested it out, it was insane. I think in 6 years or like 4 years when we did the back testing, the bot, when everything was compounded, did $20 quintillion when we compounded it over the last 4 years. 20 quintillion, and that's hitting everything perfectly over a 4-year period. It did more money than existed in the world.
What would that be per NFT though? That's what people want to know.
20 quintillion. I didn't even bother doing the math on it. It's just, but I mean, it's just what 20 quintillion would be 400. I don't know. I couldn't do it. I couldn't figure it out. But it just, stuff like that, it's not going to happen. And so that's why, in like a joking manner, we can talk about like the best case scenario, but it'll just never occur. So we look at like something more realistic. Yeah, there you go. 300 trillion per NFT in 6 years or in 4 years. It would never happen. So yeah, we're looking at something much more moderate. The 8 to 12% that we looked at as well too is without compounding. That's just straight 8 to 12%. Every single month. So with compounding, it'll be slightly higher, especially as time goes on. It'll end up being closer to about 14 to 15%. So it'll be pretty much on par, with the War5 bots that are out there as well too, and other bots that are kind of trading in the same realm that we are. So, yeah. Let's see. In the beginning, we have to take big swings, but can get more conservatives or apocryphals. Yeah, and that's definitely something that we, are going to bring up as we kind of move into that range. So, like an example of such is we've kind of had some talks between the One Token team and the Prisma team about potentially, when we get to say like $100 million in value, instead of shooting for like 15%, we may aim for like 2 to 5% or something like that. Like de-risk a lot and just kind of, get to the point where like we don't have to worry about anything. In fact, Callie had a bot that, or an algorithm that he was able to come up with in testing for this bot that trades at about 3 or 4%. With no likelihood of loss, like 0% chance. Like this one has an extremely low percent chance of having any kind of issues, losses, things like that. The other one just is like it can't lose. And I know it's crazy to say that, but it's like we tested it in like absolutely ridiculous conditions, and it has yet to lose.
And to get to like 100 million would require an extra year of like reinvesting, right? On top of like stage 3, it could be like a stage 4. It would require like an extra year of reinvesting.
So technically, stage 3 would start at 15 million if that's what we decided we wanted to do there. If we wanted to introduce a stage 4, it would do exactly that. It would add 1 year to it, and effectively that would get us right up to about 100 million. It's about 97 million. So like I'm rounding a little bit here. Don't judge me for it, but it would be a situation where about another year of letting it do its thing. And that would get us to that 100 million. If we then wanted to like de-risk the bot down to, shooting for like 2 to 5% at that point. But we'd provide that as an option to NFT holders where they can just, hey, do you guys want to do this? Yes, no, like we can make the change if you want to. We'll figure out something if we get to that, when we get to that point, not if, but when we get to that point, and just kind of let you guys make that decision. Because these are, these are your NFTs. We're here to kind of pilot the ship, so to speak, but it's your ship.
The question at that point will be, do you want a guaranteed like 80,000 per NFT per year, which is I think what the 100 million at making 3% a month would pay out?
Correct. Yeah.
Or do you want to have a minute amount of risk for more? But then again, with 100 million, you don't want to be making much more than 3% because then we're moving the market. So that would be I don't know. That
Correct.
would be
Yeah, and that's
conversation.
why it needs to be thought of as kind of like this X scale, so to speak. Anyone that's got a mortgage on their house knows what I'm talking about. Where it's like, as you start, when you purchase a house, early on you're paying more interest than you're paying principal. Same aspect here. So like as the bot earns more and more money and kind of goes up and to the right, the likelihood of not moving the market is in a downward trend at the same rate, so to speak. So like if we get to the point where we have $100 million in assets that we're trading, we really, in order to be intelligent about this and to keep everything running the way that we want it to, we actually have to de-risk and pull it back the other direction. Or, again, as Oliver said, we run the risk of moving the market, or we run the risk of taking some pretty massive losses in that aspect as well, too. So, again, that's why we're kind of like considering those options as like, if we do get up to that $100 million range, it would be a case where we can go the opposite direction with it, de-risk a ton, pull back the other direction, do like 2 to 5%, per month, which isn't anything, too crazy. And then at that point in time, you guys would still get that full 90% payout as well. So it's not like we'd be changing that payout structure, so to speak. We wouldn't be like, hey, you guys will get like 20% or something. No, you guys would get that full 90% still. And then from there, we can be much, much, much more conservative and, keep this thing running long term. And I don't think, as far as I can tell, I don't think anybody would be upset with like $80,000 to $100,000 per NFT per year. I think most people would be pretty happy with that. So yeah, that's kind of, a stage 4 option we've been throwing around a little bit. Again, any decision on that would come through NFT holders. And you would have to hold the NFT to effectively vote on that. So that wouldn't be something where it's like, yes, these NFTs are for the community, but people that don't have the NFT don't get to vote. Don't get a say in that. As brutal as that may sound to say. Let's see.
Maybe to make that a little easier, we could start. I don't know how this would happen, but I'm sure Yanni or maybe you know how to do it. We could start a chat where you have to be a verified NFT holder to take part in that chat, and then we could do votes in there, something like that.
Yeah, I think we have something like for Collabland or something like that we might be able to do, where we can check for stuff there. I'm not sure how that works. Maybe we just need to enter in like, I think all you have to do for that is you set it up, and then you have to put in the contract address, and from there it'll just, you connect your wallet through, and whoever's got it, it'll allow them into that specific channel. I'm not sure. I think that's the way it works, though. I don't mess around with that stuff. But NYC Greek Tycoon asked, on average, 24 hours, how many trades do your bots generate? So that depends on volatility in the market. Over the last 2 days, it has done 8 trades. If memory serves, I can check that really quick. One moment. Sorry, I'm back. Whole other Discord that I had to pop over to real quick, and my computer is running slow and does not like it today. It has traded 8 times over the last 2 days. So that'll kind of vary a little bit, just to kind of give some more background information to it, depending on how quickly the bot opens and closes a trade. So like if it's doing a lot of like micro trades or like really really small trades, like where things just kind of hit, go the other direction, hit, close out, and kind of do like that, it could do a couple a day. I think the most trades we saw on the last bot was 6, in one day. I could be wrong there, but I believe the most trades it did on the previous bot, not the new one that we're using now, was 6 trades. But usually it's anywhere from like, I don't know, like 1 to 3 trades a day on average, right around that range there. Sometimes it can be a little bit higher than that depending on what happens, but usually it's like 2 or 3. So yeah, hopefully that helps question-wise there. What is the largest amount of money you've had under your management in the past? Me personally, I have got a retirement account that had at one point in time about $80,000 in it before I purchased my home. And I think it was like 81 or something like that. And then we purchased our home using that as well too. I will say one of the things on this side that we've had is that we definitely focus on the safety side of things. So, while I've never had like $100 million in assets, underneath me or that I've managed or anything like that personally, I've kind of always had this mentality and this mindset of like, hey, you really need to focus and hone in on just not short-term, just crazy degen plays. We're looking for long-term here as well. And I know it sounds weird to kind of say that, and I know it sounds even more crazy to say, hey, long-term when we're talking about 6 years. But it is very much so a case where we put safety and security first. So in saying that, that's the most I've ever managed, and that has, been personal funds, through a mutual fund company that I have done some trading through and things like that, where I manage my own funds there. But yeah, no, I've never managed $100 million or $200 million or anything like that. But that's about roughly where it's been. I was like 80, 81, right around there. And that was just prior to purchasing our home. So hopefully that answers that one.
Can I ask you a question real quick? You said that it does 1 to 6 trades a day, something like that. I and maybe others were under the impression that like it's doing a bunch of small trades per day. So it's doing just a smaller amount of larger trades per day. Is that what's going on?
Correct. Yeah. So this one uses a little bit of a larger position than the previous one did. And that was just because it became a bit more efficient to do the trades in that aspect. So the older process that we had allowed us to make, much smaller trades, quite consecutively without too many issues. The newer one is able to make larger trades, which allows it to take more profit on those trades as well too. But that just means less trades. So instead of the older one where it was doing quite a few more trades throughout the day, this one is doing, much less trades, but for higher value in terms of returns there.
And another question, with it's using 100x leverage, correct?
Correct. Yeah, that's the highest amount of leverage that we use. That is correct.
And what exactly does that mean? Because I mean, I can understand what that would mean in real estate, but what does that mean like in crypto?
So the best way to kind of explain it is if you have $1 and you have 100x leverage, you're effectively trading $100 at that point. That's I guess like the easiest way to kind of explain it there. Okay. And we're effectively placing trades at that level, so it pretty much allows us to trade a much smaller amount that is effectively worth much more. So in a situation where like you're trading $1, if you do 1% on $1, that's a penny. But if you have 100x leverage on that, you're trading $100, you get $1 back, which means you're at 100% returns, trading $1 at 100x leverage. And it's not exactly the way that it works, but it's just kind of like the simplified example for it. Hope that helps.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, my little one came in and said hi. Estimated time frame until you have 100% of the funds actively trading. Probably about 6 to 8 weeks, Mr. Yan. The reason for that is we want to first and foremost test the bot, and to be clear with this as well too. We are testing the bot with the Prisma ITF funds. So those are the remaining Prisma funds that we have over there. We haven't actually put in anything from the NFTs yet. On the off chance that something goes sideways and we have to like redo something or readjust something or make a change or anything like that. I know it's a little bit crazy to sound that, but the bot was originally built for, the Prisma ecosystem, and the Prisma token itself first. The NFT was kind of like the second product out the door. So we're testing it with that first to kind of see what happens, because this was supposed to be, the mainline bot that we end up using for that. The NFT was kind of the second product that we created in conjunction with the one team, and kind of went from there. So we're testing it with $2,000 right now, from the Prisma ITF, and just kind of getting that rolling, seeing how that goes. Once we kind of test that out over a period of time, that's when we then start also, adding funds to the sub account for the Prisma NFT and start trading through that as well. But we didn't want to go in and just throw in like 10 grand at it and just be like, yeah, let's just go wild with it. We want to very slowly kind of like, turn up the amount of funds that we kind of have in there. And that way we can ensure that, like, hey, if there's anything that we need to adjust, or if something catastrophic happens, we're not losing 10, 15, 20, $50,000 worth of funds. So yeah, we're slowly having it go up. Should be about 6 to 8 weeks is kind of what we're looking before we have all the funds fully in there. I believe it'll be about another week and a half before we start loading the NFT funds in and have that test on the sub account as well too. That'll also probably start with only about $2,000 as well. Again, just for those safety precautions that we want to have in place first. Make sure everything is working from the, the copy trading from the primary account to the sub account, trading the funds properly, and then we don't have any kind of, issues, hiccups, or anything like that as well. So we'll keep you guys in the loop as we kind of add those funds through. But the first set of test funds is in there. It's for $2,000. It's been trading for 2 days so far. It's made just shy of 0.3% over those 2 days as well. So thumbs up for that one, guys. It's actually doing pretty good. And that's 0.3% on the $2,000 that's in there. So, like, just to be clear, it's not $2,000, and it did 0.3% of the $16,000 that we have in there. It's 0.3% on the $2,000 that we're testing with. So, yeah. I didn't know if that would be a question, but I figured I'd knock that one out first. Will you post daily or weekly trading results? Yeah, that's a great question, Wise Choice Money. We are going to add API functionality to the, I believe we're going to do it through the Prisma website. I could be wrong there. I don't know if we've 100% decided if that's where it's going to be, but it'll either be through the Prisma website or through the One Token website. I'm not sure where we're going to do it, but effectively the way that it'll work is you'll go to the website, you'll connect with your wallet, the wallet will check and see if you have the NFT and provide you access to the visuals for the NFT bot, and then from there you'll be able to track how the bot is doing effectively on about a 2 or 3 day delay. So it's not going to provide like up to the minute trading updates. It'll be about a 2 or 3 day delay. That's just to kind of, provide a little bit of extra security to our bot and everything like that, so somebody's not trying to copy trade us or anything there. But yeah, those visuals will be out through there. Again, anyone with an NFT, as long as the NFT is in your wallet, you can connect in, go from there. Super, super simple. You'll be able to see it without any kind of issue. Once we get the bot running for the ITF, it'll basically be the same thing as well too on the Prisma side, where when you connect your wallet, it'll just be like, oh, you have this much Prisma. Here's how you can see how the Prisma ITF bot is doing, not the NFT bot, but the ITF one, the one that we have set up specifically for the Prisma token. So that'll be 2 separate things for anyone that is, purchasing the NFT. You'll see one thing anyone that purchases the Prisma token, you'll see something totally, different in terms of returns and assets and things like that. So just want to let people know that's going to be separated out. Let's see. Chappie, when you manage over $1 million, it gets exciting. What risk management strategies will you use? So effectively, here's the thing. The best way to kind of word the risk management strategies that we have on this side over here is, first and foremost, we're just not going to be dumb as a box of rocks. I know it sounds really simplistic to kind of say it like that, but it's like, in terms of trading like this, there's two ways that you can really go. You can go with high risk, high leverage, and that is definitely going to end up being an issue in the long run. You can go like through the dollar cost average route and just, have the bot do that. Those can be very wishy-washy and have a lot of problems, especially if you run out of funds. With our side over here, the first thing that we do and the first thing that we test whenever we go through to make changes is, hey, how is this going to positively or negatively affect the bot? And if this is a situation where we reach a threshold or a risk threshold that is beyond what we are considering acceptable, we scrap it. And that was the issue that we had with the bot, where we had to ask you guys to bear with us, for an extra week and a half, almost 2 weeks at that point before we started doing anything, is that we had an issue with implementation. And with that being the case, we had to effectively scrap half of what we had worked on up until that point in time, and Callie had to go back in and redo the entire process, because once we started getting into that testing phase, it was not meeting some standards that we were happy with or we found acceptable in any way, shape, or form. And I'll be clear and say it right now, our standards are above and beyond what most would have out there in terms of risk management and trading in that aspect. The one that Oliver loves more so than anything else is that on our old bot, the only time that we ever faced liquidity or liquidation risk is it would have required Ethereum to get up to $109,000. And that was a situation where, we looked at that, and that's kind of our baseline for how we consider things in terms of risk management. So we've only ever had one instance where we would have been liquidated, and that would have required Ethereum to get up to $109,000. If memory serves, for equivalency's sake, for those that don't really know too much about Ethereum, but on the Bitcoin side, Bitcoin would have had to hit $2.3 million or something like that in order for us to have been liquidated. So, we're talking security and safety of assets is our top priority, and I can't say we have a specific, here's our risk strategy here, but that is the way that we look at it first and foremost before anything else. We don't look at returns. We don't look at, hey, are we going to do 300% in 3 weeks? We look at it and we say, what is the likelihood of us losing money? Okay, if the answer to that is, 1%, that's too high for us. If the answer to that is, 0.5%, we still find that to be too high in most situations here. So that's why I use that example. When we built the first iteration of our bot out, the only liquidation instance that we had, Ethereum had to hit $109,000. It just is never going to happen in an instantaneous kind of moment. We'd have to be, in some kind of weird black hole-ish world where just Armageddon is occurring as Ethereum hits $109,000 in 3 seconds. It's not going to occur. So that's kind of the way that we look at those risk strategies and the risk management behind it as well too. So I know it's not the most clear and concise answer in terms of hey, that's the way we look at it, but to really kind of break it down to us, anything coming close to even a 1% chance is higher than what we deem acceptable on our side. Again, that doesn't mean that we're 100% risk free. It just means that if we were to sit down and play Russian roulette, we've got a billion barrels that we'd have to go through before we potentially hit that bullet. That's our hope, and that's the process that we kind of think about when we're looking at building this out and kind of making those changes. Sorry, needed some water, guys. I apologize.
Timber
Choking on
Sky,
oxygen.
I think I can answer your question. Will year one begin only when all funds are loaded into the bot? Technically, yes, because that will be kind of when the math starts to work for the numbers that we put on the white paper. Because the math is based off of all of that BNB being in there, which was 396 BNB at current prices. I don't know how much that is, but about $80-some thousand. So
Roughly, yeah, that's correct. Yeah, and the reason for that as well too, and it'll be considered like an extra little added bonus that when we have that like 6 to 8 weeks of kind of build up of adding the funds in and everything like that, all of that'll go towards it as well too. So we're not going to be in a position where it's like, hey, we're just not going to account for those first couple of weeks or anything. But yeah, we are going to start that year one when all the funds are in there. It's just again that's the way that we look at the risk side of things when we're getting things started up and rolling into this, is that we do not want to be in a position where we throw all of the funds in there and something goes catastrophically wrong and the funds are all gone. That is the absolute penultimate worst thing that we could have happen, and we do not want that to be the case. So yeah. And that's just to expand on what Oliver already said.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right. Let's see. Chappie, transparency is key. Yes, I agree. Timber Sky, asking about bot visuals. Yes. Just in case you missed it earlier as well, I'll just repeat myself real quick. We will have visuals on the website. Effectively, the way it'll work is you'll just connect your wallet to the website, and we haven't decided if it'll be the Prisma website or the One Team website. Once you connect with the wallet that has the NFT in it, it will show you how the bot is doing on roughly about a 2 to 3 day delay. I wasn't sure if you was here for that question earlier or not, so I'll just answer it again real quick. No trouble at all. Wise Trust Money, boom. I mean, yes.
One thing, can everybody hear me? Because I hit unmute. Because Yanni keeps saying you gotta hit unmute, Oliver, and I'm like, I do unmute. You can hear me, right, Moongod?
Yep.
Okay. I'm hitting on. I'm just making sure I'm not crazy.
Nah, you're good, bud. So Chappie, transparency is key. Yes, I agree, absolutely. Good answer. Thank you. Safety delay is far better than losses. I'm sure the whole community wants this project to succeed for a very, very long time. I agree. This is something that we're hoping to, I know that the numbers and the visuals and everything like that we've presented so far in the white paper cuts off at about 6 years, but that's more or less because once we hit about that 6 year time frame, it's just going to be the same roughly every year is what we're kind of hoping there. So it kind of seemed a little bit silly to just be like, yeah, we're at year 23 here, and it's like it's the same as year 6. So effectively, we just kind of that's why we did the cutoff there. So yeah, we're hoping this will be something where like year 6 comes and goes, everything's fine. Year 23 comes and goes, everything's fine. Year 46 comes and goes, everything's still fine. I hope I am still alive by the time we hit like year 60 or something like that. But that's kind of pushing it there. Being my mid to late 90s at that point. So I We'll see what's happening in 60 years, but yeah, at least, somewhere around there, like 40, 50, 60, I don't know, something. But yeah, as long as we can keep it running. So for sure. Sort yourself out. Love it. All right. I mean, when you're unmuted, you're talking fine to me. I mean, I can hear you. You're just excited. You're like, yeah, let's go, and just lip syncing over there. Love it. Let's see. Any news on the V2 token? V2 token is still looking to be probably at the end of this year, beginning of next year for Prisma. Just to kind of quickly touch base on that because we're talking a little more about the NFTs and the Prisma token itself. Still the same time frame. We haven't really had any adjustments there. It might be closer towards the beginning of next year, just simply because we had to pull the bot down for the update that we did here. But yes, that's still kind of the goal, is end of this year, beginning of next year. Our funds held as BNB or stablecoin while not in the trade. So when the funds are in the CEX and I guess being prepped to be traded, they're being held as USDT. So they're in a stable coin. As for right now, they're still sitting in BNB because we're kind of hoping that it's going to pop back up a little bit towards the 230 range, and then we can convert it all over and have a little extra in there to go into the trading side of it. But yeah, as of right now, it's currently just still sitting in our multi-sig wallet, the Prisma Treasury multi-sig wallet. All the BNB is in there. We have a couple of people that are still a little late with their BNB to the party. They haven't gotten their NFTs yet either because they're still a little bit late. But yeah, so yeah, everything's still in there. If you guys want it, we can give you the multi-sig wallet address. That's not an issue at all. You guys can check it out and see when stuff kind of moves around. But yeah, that's pretty much where it's kind of sitting at right now. Let's see, Chappie, I'm 55 years old, 5, 10, 20, 30 years would be good. Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what we're looking to do here is, we don't want anything like too outrageous, crazy over the top in terms of like, it's going to take you 60 years of hard labor and work. And it's just, we're trying to, I'm going to say take advantage, but I don't mean that in a bad way. We're trying to make use of the positives that crypto brings to, the financial industry. And it's very much so, the time, to do this. It's like, we are effectively 10 years into an internet revolution in terms of what crypto can do for people, the borders that it's able to cross, the money that, people are able to make within doing this as well too. And then, we're hoping to, to fully kind of, take advantage of that, scale this up, and then, pretty much the sky is the limit is kind of the hope and the dream here. Like, imagine if you could go back and, in time to, when the internet was really kind of, becoming, what it is nowadays, and being a part of that and having the ability to kind of like monetize and, create wealth through that process. And that's really kind of what we're looking to do here in crypto. And the positive is it's like a worldwide thing as well. So it's very much so this case where, everyone, doesn't matter like what country you're from, you can definitely take part of this. So yeah, that's very much so our goal here is that, we're hoping that, even though we're 10 years into this, we can become a staple of, long-term proof of concept that, like, one, crypto's here to stay, but then two, crypto's here and it can be something that can make you money. It can be something that can make you life-changing money, and it can be something that allows you to, do the things that you want to do. I mean, I'm sure everybody out there wants to be, retired, hanging out with their family, enjoying their life, if you haven't started a family yet or anything like that, just, enjoying traveling or doing the things that you've always wanted to do. And that's really what we're kind of looking to build here, is that, being reasonable about it in terms of like expectation, but at the same time taking full advantage of it as well too, with that, with actual yield and revenue that comes into our ecosystem and our setup here. So yeah, I think that's all the questions. Give a little extra speech at the end there, but unless anybody else has got some questions here.
No, I think we did pretty good. We can always do another one of these anytime. I know you and I were talking about doing one of these like every week, maybe, just to update people when the bot is in full trading mode. We can just give people little weekly updates, like 15 or 20-minute updates, and just to keep people enticed and interested and whatnot, because it's in crypto, few years is a decently long time in crypto. So we want to keep you guys definitely very interested in this the whole time. So we'll keep you guys updated and whatnot on a regular basis. Chevy's asking, can I buy another NFT? Oliver sold my How many do you have, Chappie? I did overpromise. I know I was told not to. It was. It's not that. It's that there was a few people that wanted them, and a couple of them weren't getting back to me, and so I kind of went down the line. Oh, you don't
Listen,
have any, Chappie? Oh,
I'll,
shoot.
I'll let you overpromise and underdeliver in that situation there, Oliver. But that is never going to be the case for me. I'm always going to underpromise and hopefully overdeliver as time goes on. So I'm going to knock you for that one. For shame, my good sir. For shame.
Yeah. It was. I jumped the gun a little bit on that. Yeah, because there was when Lucky bought all the NFTs at the end, and we were doing OTC sales. There were a lot of people reaching out to me, and we took care of about 90% of them, I would say. And then the other 10% were holdouts asking like, hey, if anybody doesn't pay for their NFT, let us know. And at the end, there were a few people that I messaged. They didn't get back to me quick enough, and which that was my fault. I could have waited a little longer for them. So my bad, Chappie. Um, I don't know. I think the only people who haven't paid for their NFTs are me, Lucky, and Yanni. So I don't know, Chappie. I'll let you know though. 300 trillion.
All right, well, I got to bounce, Oliver. It's been a pleasure as always, man. I will catch you guys all later. I've got to head on to do some stuff with the family.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for being here, man. Thank you, everybody in the audience, for joining us. Really appreciate it. And I have been recording it, so I'll be posting this on YouTube if you missed any of it. And thank you all for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. See ya, see ya.